Good evening. We're
Good
here.
evening.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
We are
Welcome.
on the couch. It is Thursday, the 14th, and it is 7 o'clock. So I hope that you have had a good day. This is that's Veta,
And that's back.
and this is
Couch
Couch Conversations.
Conversations.
L-
Welcome.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. So glad that you're taking out time to be with us. Let me just start by saying this might be a long hour because I'm tired.
Yeah, it's been a long day.
It's been a long day. Anybody else had a long day? I don't know about you, but I had a long day and I'm tired. But we
We're
committed to being
here.
here. We committed to being here. And so we are here with you. We're excited about it. And we hope you are too. We did miss last week. It didn't go the way we wanted it to, but
Yes, we're celebrating Women's Month.
we are celebrating Women's Month. But last
Yay.
week we missed the show. We didn't get our time on the couch because our daughter had a play at her school, at her high school, and so we had to be there. So it was be there for her or be here with you. And unfortunately,
We chose her.
we chose her. Sorry, don't get mad. Don't
We're
get
back
mad.
tonight,
But
though.
we're here. We're here, and I know we said 8 weeks for this season, so we'll definitely make that up on the back end. Wife, how was your day?
My day was long.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we're at the end of it.
We are at the end of it. It's
And
been a long
tomorrow
day.
is Friday.
Yes, it is. I can't wait. I'm
Yay.
so excited because one more day before the weekend. And so I'm looking forward to that. You looking forward to the weekend?
Yes.
Yeah, what you got planned this weekend?
Rest.
Must be nice. Must be nice. I got too much to do and too little time to do it.
Yes.
But for now, I digress. We are here on the couch. And I don't know about you, my lovely bride, but being here has just become very, very much something I look forward to. Being on the couch with you and spending time with our friends and family who join us on this lovely Thursday evening. The weather was beautiful today.
The weather was so beautiful
Oh my
today.
Lord, it was good
I
today.
hope you guys got out as a couple and enjoyed the weather
Take a walk.
because it's supposed to get colder.
Yeah, it's supposed to get
Tomorrow's
chilly.
supposed to be raining
Yep.
and then it's supposed to get colder again. Oh, that's March weather.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, well.
that it is. Yeah.
But I hope you guys enjoyed each other or are enjoying each other on this wonderful, I think it was like 75 degrees today.
Something like that. Yeah, I think it's
Be
74,
intentional.
75.
I hope you were intentional of spending time together in this lovely weather. Whether it's after work, it's 7 o'clock, so intentionality is important.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And coming together after a long day of work. And I'm glad that we are here on the couch
Absolutely.
being intentional,
We
spending
made it.
time together
That's right.
with you.
That's right.
So I hope you guys enjoyed the weather today together or enjoyed your day together.
Let's see. If you are joining us online, then make sure that you like and share with someone. Make sure that you invite other people. We are on YouTube. We are on Facebook. We will eventually get to Instagram Live, but we're not there yet.
We're not there yet.
We're not there yet. We're going to get there, though. We're going to get there. And if you see me squirming a lot, it's because our producer is not here. We're doing the show tonight together, just the two of us. Our producer had other things that she needed to do. And so we're not going to fire her yet. But yeah, amen. All right. As you heard my wife allude to, tonight's show topic is being intentional. Being intentional. What does that mean to you, wife, when you hear the phrase be intentional?
I always think of that song. Be intentional. Be intentional.
Oh, Travis Green? I think it's
Yeah.
Travis Green.
Be
Yeah, yeah.
intentional.
Yeah.
But intentional means just doing something on purpose and being
Absolutely.
aware of doing something on purpose. So you're conscious of the fact that you're doing something on purpose.
Yeah.
Being unintentional is, I guess, not is doing something on purpose, but not in a positive way. Is that being unintentional?
I think unintentional is more so. It's not being done on purpose, but rather haphazardly.
Yeah.
It is what it is. It'll be with unintentional means I didn't plan for it. I didn't plan to do it. I didn't have any expectation of getting it done. Being unintentional means, whatever kind of thing.
But being intentional is doing something on purpose. Like, I'll give an example. Like, if a child being is standing in line and someone walks across their foot and they put their foot out, walks across them and put their foot out, he intentionally tripped that child on
Yep.
purpose. So being intentional, that means you were conscious of the fact that you were doing something and you did it on purpose. So being intentional in your marriage just means being on purpose, doing something on purpose to make your significant other or spouse, to make your spouse aware at the fact that you're doing something to please them,
Absolutely, absolutely,
performing
and
an action
yeah, yeah.
for a reason, on
There you
purpose
go.
for a reason.
Yeah, yeah. An intentional action essentially produces a desired outcome or result. When you do something on purpose, you can expect what's going to come next.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is going to drive me crazy. Oh, sorry about that. See, this is what happens when you do a show by yourself. You got to take into account all that stuff, and I'm getting an echo, not an echo, a delay in the audio in my ear. Y'all had to excuse me for a second. Dog, thank you. We have a puppy, and she's decided she wants to be a part of the show. But you have nothing to contribute, ma'am. So sit there, be quiet. But yes, doing something intentional, it it breeds an expected outcome, expected desire and goal. You think about it. If you work out, you're working out intentionally because you want to lose weight. You want to get into a different shape than the shape you're in. You want to get healthier. You're working out intentionally because there's something that you want on the other side of the working out. You want
Mm-hmm.
something that you don't have.
Mm-hmm.
Or you may intentionally clean your house because you want your house to maintain its cleanliness.
Mm-hmm.
So we do things intentionally because ultimately what we're after is a desired outcome or a desired goal. There are things in life that we do intentionally. We invest in what we call our future. You'll hear that phrase a lot. We invest in our future or invest in your future because when the future becomes the today, you want to have certain things, finances, a lifestyle, etc. And so today you have to invest for your future so that when you get to your future, you'll have those things. And the same is true about retirement. The same is true about buying a house or a car. When you want to buy a house, you intentionally save money
Right.
or you intentionally get a second job or another stream of income because you want to generate money towards that goal of buying the house or buying the car. So you're intentional in that regard.
Yes, and intentional isn't only actions. It can be verbal attention,
Yeah.
intention, being intentional of how you say something, and it could be positive and or negative if you're talking to your spouse. So being intentional, well, we want to say be positively intentional. Speak positive words, intentional positive word, which will encourage each other and build each other up. That's in the Bible too.
Be
Be
intentionally
intentionally
positive.
positive,
Yeah.
using your words and
Yep.
your actions towards each other.
Speak life
Speak life to
into your
each other.
spouse, into your marriage. Absolutely.
Hmm.
Positivity is something that you have to be intentional about. And so that's what we have to make sure. Is that my phone?
And
Oh, that's your
and
phone.
being
Okay.
intentional with intimacy,
Ooh, that's a big one.
because you have to connect with each other physically also for growth in your marriage. So being intentional, intimacy, being intentional verbally, and being intentional with your actions is important in your marriage.
Can we unpack that a little bit, the intentional intimacy piece? Because I think a lot of people, when they think of that, they hear us say that, and then they automatically go to intercourse
Yeah.
or sex.
Mhm.
And the reality is, intimacy between you and your partner is more than just that physical connection, but it's that spiritual or internal emotional mental connection that you don't have with anybody else.
Yes.
Intimacy means that we are close and we're connected and we're bonded on a level that we're not with anybody else.
And it will sometimes it will lead to sex because I mean, because sex is important in marriage, and then sometimes it doesn't have to.
I was trying
And
to hold it in my
sometimes
bad.
it doesn't have to um, lead to sex. But if you have that intimacy, if it helps
Enhance.
enhance the
Yes.
feeling of
Yes.
wanting your spouse, and
Absolutely.
it could just be a touch.
Yep.
That's intimate.
Yep. Because I'll speak for me. I'm not the type of person, even though in my weekend vocation as a pastor, I do hug a lot and embrace the saints. On the good times, of course, as a pastor, when you're consoling, then you become physically connected by touching, hugging, rubbing, or what have you, holding hands. I shake hands a lot. But I'm not a touchy feely person because while physical touch is my love language, she's the only one that I want to touch me.
Right.
Like
Well,
nobody touches me the
I
way
would
that my
hope.
wife.
I would hope.
You supposed to let that one ride.
Yeah, I'm
No.
like, I would hope you only want me to touch you.
For me, because I have become so elated with your touch, I'd rather not have any other touch in the world.
Well,
No, and I get what you're saying.
I'm like, I'm confused.
I get what you're saying. That's the way it should be. What I'm saying is, it is that way for me because of our intimacy.
Yeah.
When you touch me, holding my hand like you just rubbed my hand a second ago, brushing past me in our small kitchen, or when we're doing things, and even when you don't intentionally touch me, just the simple brush or the simple bump. Oh, excuse, she does it all the time, y'all. She'll bump up against me. Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me, because she didn't mean to touch me. And I'm like, you don't ever have to say you're sorry for bumping me by accident, because every touch for me is like heaven. But for me, it's become so wonderful and so meaningful that I don't want. And when I say I don't want anybody else to touch me, you're thinking, well, you don't
Well,
want another
stop saying
woman to
that. I
touch you.
know that don't.
But
That's
for me,
weird.
it's bigger than that. It's bigger than just another woman. It's not about sexual. It's not about that for
You just saying
me.
period.
I'm saying
Touching
period.
period. Okay, just say
Like,
that.
I'll shake a
Cause you,
hand,
it's
I'll give a brother a hug or what have you. But even that to me, it's like, okay, don't not too long,
okay.
because it's not you.
Okay.
I've grown beyond the simplicity of I don't want another woman to touch me because of the value of your touch. I'm good if nobody else touches me.
Okay.
And I think that's the type of intimacy that we are encouraging you to be intentional about, that kind of connection with your spouse that says they truly are the exception to every rule in your life. That type of connectivity that says, as long as I have you, I literally don't need anybody else
Okay.
except for God. I always have God in your life. I was listening to a pastor today, and he was preaching about how his wife has become his drug. That was his exact words. She is my drug. I'm addicted to her. And so he, but the point he was making was, without God, he would take her for granted. He wouldn't care.
Oh
He could care
yes.
less. But now that was his point.
Right.
But he was also saying how he has to be intentional about keeping God at
Right.
the forefront of the relationship,
Right.
because he recognizes that God is what keeps them together. God is what keeps him faithful to her. God is what keeps their relationship a relationship of value for him. So he has to be intentional in his prayer life. He has to be intentional in his conversations. He has to be intentional in what he does, how he approaches the relationship, how he views his spouse, because he has to make sure, he has to ensure that God is in the front. And I think that's what we're encouraging you all to do, is to make sure that you are intentional about your relationship the same way that you're intentional about other things. We were having a conversation, my wife and I, we were discussing trust in a relationship the other day, and how as her husband, I have a grand responsibility to do everything I can on purpose to not, or to give her a reason to feel like she can trust me. I think I'm trying to say that right. Does that make sense? I have to make sure
Yes.
that I am doing things, and like she said earlier, saying things that reinforce the concept of her trusting me, not just to be faithful, but trusting me to protect her, care for her, and watch out for her, provide for her, trusting me to make the right decisions in the house. In our particular dynamic, I manage our funds and our finances. I do the bills and stuff, and so she has to be able to trust me to do that. I have to show her that she can trust me. I also have to remind and reiterate to her that she can trust me. And I like to think that I'm doing that on a regular basis, but
Mm-hmm.
I got to check in with you intentionally to make sure that I'm on the right track.
And then I have to intentionally tell you.
Yeah. In
When you separate, when you're going your separate ways out into the world, there's things out there that can affect your marriage, and you have to be intentional to cover your spouse when you are not together, because things can come up, and if you're not intentional about covering them with prayer, you send them out in the world, and anything can happen. So just being intentional with
Absolutely.
all of those aspects, spiritually covering,
Yep.
words of affirmation,
Yep.
physical intentionality.
Yep.
What was the other one we said?
You said
I
verbal
said affirmation, verbal,
intimacy.
intimacy.
Yeah.
Those are all the five love language. Yes, using all of those.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
You know what I've realized? When you're
Oh,
not
action.
action. That
Action.
was yep,
Action.
yep,
That was the
action.
other. I was like
Yep, yep.
action. That was the
But
other one.
that leads right into what I was getting ready to say. When we don't act intentionally or speak intentionally regarding our spouse or to our spouse, what we're saying is, I'm assuming you know how I feel.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that you know what I want. I'm assuming that everything is okay.
Yes.
If I don't ask you, hey, are we good? Are you good? Do you need anything? What can I do better? What can I be better? Whatever. If I'm not asking or if I'm not checking in, hey, you know I love you. Yeah, I know you love me because you always tell me. Or like you always say that about me. Like, you know I do because I'm always
Right.
telling you and showing you and reminding you. Even today, she called me today on FaceTime. And in the middle of our conversation, I'm at work, sitting at my desk, my boss behind me in his office, and I just bust out singing poorly. But I just bust out singing to her. She was like, "Are you really
I was like, are
singing
you singing
at
at
work?"
work?
I was like, "I am," because I was intentional about reminding her that she is more important to me than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
In that moment, I felt a sudden urge to remind my wife, hey, don't forget, regardless of where I am or who I am with, you're still more important to me. And you knowing that I love you is still more important to me than being embarrassed or getting in trouble with somebody else or whatever might happen as a result of me expressing how I feel about her.
Mm-hmm.
And I needed to do, and I do it all the time, but I do it all the time on purpose. Like, I am very intentional about doing those things and saying those things
Yeah.
because I need you to know how I feel so that when your day is hard and rough or you might be sad or lonely, at least you know that, if nothing else.
Mm-hmm. Deliberate. Being
Yes,
deliberate.
deliberate is a great word.
Yes.
Great word.
Being deliberate about what you want to say, what actions you want to take to make your spouse feel like you want to still be in this marriage together.
Yep.
So being deliberate and knowing that you're going to be doing this forever. That's what your vows say, forever. You're going to be doing this forever. So be intentional about how you speak to each other and not only speaking to each other, if you said something wrong or did something wrong and you know you did it wrong, intentionally apologize. Don't wait so long to apologize, especially if you knew you know you did something wrong or you know you said something wrong and it's going to upset your spouse. Make it intentional to apologize and not just I'm sorry. Be intentional and think about what you're going to say and say it deliberately and say it in love and make it a conscious action to deliver your apology the right way.
Teach. So I
So
can't
it
just say my
cannot.
bad.
Right? No, you can't say my bad because that doesn't. It's not effective when you just say, "Oh, my bad," because that's not telling me how you feel. It's not. It's not saying you intentionally care about my feelings when you say my bad. It's just like, oh, my bad. Okay, you're bad about what? So just be, even when you're apologizing for saying something or do something, just be intentional and think about and be conscious of the fact that, oh, you hurt your spouse's feeling. So the same way that you intentionally said what you said, intentionally apologize and give them room to forgive. And after that apology.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because what you do today has tomorrow repercussions.
Mm-hmm.
What you do today has tomorrow ramifications.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not intentional today about your tomorrow, then your tomorrow is going to suck. I
Mm-hmm.
can't put it no nicer way.
It will.
It will suck. That's how
Yeah.
people end up in 15, 20-year marriages miserable. It's because in year 3, in year 4, in year 5, after the new car smell wore off, they weren't intentional about building a life together.
Yes, yes.
We lose that drive, that passion, because we don't invest in the marriage.
Yeah.
That's why we call this happy spouse, happy
Happy house.
house. It's because, yes, happy wife, happy life. I'll attest to that all day long and twice on Sunday. When she's happy, I'm happy, and my life is good. I might be broke, but my life is good.
Don't say that.
I won't say that? Okay.
No.
Don't make that face. We on
I'm about
TV.
to
They
say,
might be watching
okay,
you.
but don't say that.
But the
Don't be speaking them
reality
things
is,
into our.
the reality is, as much as I have a responsibility and an obligation to care for her intentionally, so does she. When you signed up to get married, when you stood before the preacher or the judge or whomever you stood before that conducted your marriage ceremony, you said in front of that person and the witness that I am committing the rest of my life
Mm-hmm.
to you,
Right.
to taking care of you, to being there for you.
Right.
And that requires action.
Mm-hmm.
That requires intentionality, deliberate actions. We say it all the time. We are not who we used to be. So we need to get to know each other for who each other is now so that we can do what needs to happen and take care of each other where we are today. My wife doesn't have the same needs 20 plus years later that she had 20 years ago. What she needed from me when we first got married over 22 years ago is not what she needs from me now because she's not the same person. When we met, she's not the same person. So as a result of her being a different person, she has different needs and she has different wants. And so it is my responsibility as her husband to intentionally find out what she needs, what she wants, and do my level best to meet all of her needs and as many of her wants as humanly possible. And I think we, as married people, you chose that person that you're watching this with. You chose that person that you're gonna send this to say, hey, make sure you check out this episode.
Right.
And as a result of choosing them, you didn't just choose them to be your source. You chose them for whom you would be the source.
Mm-hmm.
I told my wife, I want to be your source for everything that you need and for everything that you're going to want through life. Knowing that there's certain things that I won't be able to provide for her. She needs time with her twin sister. She needs time with her girlfriends. She needs time with her mama. I cannot fill any of those roles. And likewise, I got to spend time with my brother, my mother. I got to spend time with my fraternity brothers,
right.
my friends, and she has nothing to do with any of those roles. So while we are not literally everything to each other, we are required to be the majority of things to each other. And we have to be intentional about that. People who say their relationship is stale or it's lost its luster or there's no, I'm bored. It's because you're not being intentional in the relationship.
And if you're the one bored, what are you doing to give it life? I mean, if you're the one saying it's bored, or I'm not being, what do some people say?
Oh, they say all kind of things. I'm bored, or
I'm saying, I'm trying to think, because I'm like, I don't think I've said that. I'm
hope
bored. I don't want to be here no more.
that
I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
Well, the person who's saying it, what are you doing to bring life
Exactly.
to your marriage? Because if you're bored, that means that you're waiting for your spouse to give you life or to date you more or whatever the case may be. But if you're the one saying, oh, there's nothing left in this marriage, well, what did you do to put in to encourage the marriage, to make the marriage grow more fun? Or the activities, are you planning stuff, or are you just waiting for your spouse to do everything and you just sitting back doing nothing? That's why you're bored. Do something.
And the first thing we do when we get bored is we start looking outside.
Outside of the marriage.
Outside
which is
the
not
house.
good.
Outside the relationship. You know, I've said this before and I've taught this before. We've mentioned it in some of the seminars that we've taught over the years. If I spend all of my time and attention taking care of her, and she spends all of her time and attention taking care of her, two things are happening. One, I'm left needing and wanting. Nobody's taking care of me. And two, she's cheating on me with herself. I know that sounds crazy, but let me unpack it for a second.
And you're using all of your energy towards me, so you're gonna run out of energy.
That's right.
To even want to receive, especially if I'm not, get your energy is used all on me. So of course you're gonna get tired.
Yep.
So all of the energy that you give into one yourself and your spouse at the same time, and you're not receiving, you burn out. It's like your car.
Yeah.
If you're running, you never check the gas tank. What is it? Not the gas tank.
No, gas tank.
Yes. If you never look at the gas and say, "Oh, I'm just gonna go here. I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna go there." Blah, blah, blah. You're losing gas in all the places you're going, but you're not refilling it back up.
You will run
because
out.
You're worried about things that you have to do. But the car is the one that's taking you.
Yeah.
Like you could have walked. The car is the one that's using the gas to take you where you want to go.
You keep driving that car with no gas in it, you gonna walk.
Driving it, right. You keep driving and driving and driving it, but you're not filling it up. Of course it's going to die on you. Of course it's going to run out of gas. Of course it's not going to give you what you need because you're using it. You're using it without filling it up.
You have to invest. You have to input. You have to put something in. If you don't put any groceries in the refrigerator, there won't be anything to eat.
And you're
You
going to starve.
you're going to starve.
So
Say
some of
that.
y'all
Look,
is
say it again. Say it again.
you're going to starve.
In the name,
Some of y'all is starving your marriage,
starving your
your
spouse.
spouse, starving your spouse. Oh, and the example that you gave, if I'm gonna put it back on me, if I'm giving all to myself
Mm-hmm.
or taking care of myself,
Mm-hmm.
and you're taking care of me also,
Right.
you're the one getting starved
Yeah.
because you're giving, giving, giving,
Everything to you.
and I'm receiving, receiving,
Yeah.
receiving,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then you're hungry for whatever
Yeah.
intimacy, emotional. You're hungry for physical
Yeah.
touch. If it's not focused on each other,
If all we do at the end of the long day is talk about how your day was long,
right?
no one's there to help me
Mm-hmm.
because we spend all of our time
Talking
on how
about
long your day was.
right, right.
And as a side note, as just a little side note, let me give you this one for free. Don't try to compete with your spouse about who had the longer day or
Mm,
who had the more tiring day
yes,
or whose situation is more stressful. There's no competition there. What you went through is what you went through, and what your spouse goes through is what they go through. We both had long days today, and we both came home tired
yeah,
and hungry and ready to really go to bed,
yes.
like stretch it out.
I was like, I'm sleepy.
Right, and I felt the same way, but we committed to this and we want to be here for you. But we could not compete with each other. You've got to be on purpose
Yes.
in your marriage.
Even if you like today, even if we weren't recording,
Right.
I mean if we weren't going live,
Hmm.
even if today both of us were tired, we could take a nap together. That's being intentional and trying to take care of each other because
Yep.
we know that each of us are tired. It's like, oh, be intentional about having a conversation. Hey babe, how was your day? I'm tired.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm tired too. What do you think we should do?
Say that.
What do you think we should do?
Right.
Not, oh, I'm getting ready to go to sleep.
Right.
But
Peace.
we didn't plan, we didn't talk about our day.
Right.
But you can intentionally have a conversation, be like, what do you think we should do?
Yeah.
Well, if we're not going to have our conversation, then both of us should go take a nap together. That's intentionally
Yeah.
trying to end the day.
Yeah.
Well, not end the day,
But yeah.
but on purpose trying to help each other.
Right.
Get through the rest of the day.
Right.
So
Right. And that's a real thing because sometimes she'll lean on me like, just come lay down with me, mostly because she wants me to lay down next to her, but then also because she recognizes that I need a break too. I need rest too.
yes,
And sometimes we can get so distracted by life that we miss what we need.
right.
And if our spouse is intentionally paying attention to us, then they'll see what we need. But if you're not
Yes.
paying attention,
I just heard you say that.
yeah,
If you're intentionally paying attention to each other,
you'll see what they need.
because if you're not paying attention, then you wouldn't know. You
You
just
miss it.
be talking about your day, and you don't care that the other person is
Yeah.
exhausted.
Yeah.
And being intentional, how can you be intentional with each other? There's a couple of things that I jotted down. It was from Eagle Family Ministries. It says being intentional is to make each other a priority. Share your hopes, feelings, frustrations, and goals frequently. Have fun together regularly. Date your spouse.
Say it again.
That's how you got them. You dated them. You dated them. Don't look to your spouse as your only source of happiness. That means going outside. Well, not going outside your marriage, but doing things that you like without your spouse, where you can have fun and reset. I would say reset, because you see each other all the time, and sometimes you need your you time. Sometimes make physical intimacy a priority, and encourage and support one another. Those are a few things that you can do to be intentional with each other.
And
The date
go
is
ahead.
important.
Yeah, yeah.
The dating is important.
Absolutely.
Get
Absolutely.
dressed up, go out together. The
Hmm.
same way that you were dating before
Listen,
you got married.
listen.
You were intentional about looking good, sisters.
That's right. That's right. Listen,
Still do that.
I
Still
told
do
my
that.
wife
Still
the
look
other day,
sexy.
she was looking so good the other day at
Oh my
church.
gosh.
No, you were, woman.
Not at church
You, I
though.
don't. You was
That's so
looking good.
uncomfortable.
It did make a difference. You was looking good.
I don't try to
And
do
I told
that.
her, I said, you look too good for me to take you home. I need to take you out somewhere, show
Oh
you
my
off.
gosh.
I didn't get a chance to. She wouldn't let me. But I needed to. I wanted to because I wanted the world to see how beautiful my wife
Oh
is.
my
She
goodness.
was looking good. But we was at church, but it was okay. And it was tasteful. It was tasteful, but I guess that's another show for another day. Anyway, praise the Lord. I'm checking some of this. Let me see. Yeah, keep talking because I need to do something real quick.
So, intentionality is just being aware of what your spouse needs on purpose, performing actions on purpose, speaking confidence and encouraging on purpose, being deliberate about spending time together and doing things that each other love, not just one spouse loves, but with both of you love, or with one of you love that you can try together. But being deliberate, performing an action, and being aware. And sometimes it's important to be intentional and knowing when your spouse doesn't want to do something and being intentional and saying, hey, we don't have to do it. So just being intentional and conscious of the fact that it's important to know what your spouse needs at all times.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm trying to get this out and see if I can share it. Okay.
What are you trying to share?
So we have a good friend of ours, Whitney Hogan's, and she's kind of she was someone who was very instrumental in us even starting this show all those years ago.
Oh, yes.
With the first season, shout out to Whitney Hogan's. What's up, Whit? Good to see you. She posted on Facebook about a week or two ago a thought she had, a concept that she was reminded of, um, when I read it, it really spoke to me about the power of intentionality
Mm-hmm.
and how it has forever results or forever repercussions. What we intentionally do today will impact our marriages tomorrow and all the way down the road. So I'm going to read a little bit, just a little bit of her post. And she's giving me permission. So thanks, Whit, for that. So her post went something like this. This morning at church, Bishop shared that everyone needs a life plan. She remembers the first time she was introduced to the concept. It was on my wedding night. Steve shared that starting that night, their wedding night, the first night that they had as husband and wife, they were going to pray and create a life plan. And that every year on their wedding anniversary, they would revisit the plan to reflect, pray, and adjust. And I think that's the part that really reached out to me. Unfortunately, Steve's no longer with us. And so, of course, we're praying for Whitney every day about that. But she said, she went on to say in the post, she still has the plan. And as she went back and revisited it after the message that Sunday, amazingly, with the exception of doing ministry work in Oklahoma City and a couple of other things, everything that they wrote and prayed over on that plan was accomplished, save a couple of things. Um, but the majority of those things were accomplished after he passed away. And the reason that I wanted to share that, and I asked her for permission and she said it was okay. The reason that I wanted to share that is because when we are intentional in our marriage, that has that kind of impact that lasts far beyond today,
Mm-hmm.
this week, this month. They were together for years. And like I said, even though Steve passed away, Whit still has that. She still is able to reference that and can see how her life was on a trajectory. She said every year on the wedding anniversary they would revisit the plan, reflect on it, pray over it, and then adjust accordingly. When you're intentional about that, it takes intentionality to create the plan,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it takes intentionality to walk it out, to live it out, to carry it out. And it takes intentionality to revisit it and make an adjustment. So, what we're saying is for you all, you've got to be intentional because that intentionality will cause you to have this the house, the happy home, the happy marriage that you wanted, that you dreamed about when you were a kid or in high school or college or whatever. The thoughts that flowed through your mind when you were younger about what you expected your marriage to be like, in order for those things to come to fruition, you actually have to do something about it.
Yeah.
And that's what we're getting after with tonight's show, with tonight's topic of being intentional,
Mm-hmm.
is you have to do the things that will yield you the results that you want in your marriage.
And I like that post too because I read it also, and in reading it, it was what I got from it was because they were intentional in their marriage. She's done stuff that he or that they intentionally set forth and planned, and now she's doing things um, that she probably didn't realize that she was going to be doing,
Sure.
and she could have given up because, as Max said, that he's no longer here with us. But even in that, she's intentionally following through with the plan that they started together, and it's being uh, she's moving forward. She's
Right.
still moving forward
Right.
in what they started
Yeah.
because he was intentional
Yeah.
and being the head of the household and saying we're going to do
Yeah.
this, and being led by God um, helped her be intentional and continuing with the plan and the
Absolutely.
goals and her aspirations
Absolutely.
in life, and it's probably been well for her.
Yeah. Yeah. No
Um,
doubt. No doubt.
and keeping her on course
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
being staying positive and all that.
When you are intentional, it impacts other people.
Yes, that's important.
And when we're intentional about our relationship, intentionally setting boundaries that other people are not allowed to cross, intentionally setting boundaries, those boundaries protect us. It also sets an example for other people
Mm-hmm.
because now they can see, oh, look at them. They're healthy. They're happy. They're engaged with each other
Yes.
and they've got boundaries. We tell people that, no, we're good. We're going to just be us. I was talking to a young man, and he was telling me how he had a date night with his wife, um, but he made the mistake of telling some friends, hey, we're going out on a date night. And of course, the friends were like, well, where y'all going? Or we going to the restaurant.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
I like that restaurant. We'll meet you there. And his date
Wow.
night turned into a group thing.
Oh goodness.
And of course, they had fun. It was people that they enjoyed being with and all that. He said, I said, but it doesn't count as a date night if you've got other people there.
Yeah.
Because a date night means it's just us. Sometimes you and your wife need to move without telling anybody.
Mm-hmm.
You just need to go and intentionally be alone with each other. Turn the phone off,
Right.
put it away. Don't tell nobody where you're going.
Mm-hmm.
Don't tell nobody what you're doing. Stop always taking pictures. I'm out with my boo. I'm out with my whatever. We out here. We do no. Sometimes you need to intentionally move in silence. Move in secret because you need to have things between you that nobody else has access to.
Mm-hmm.
That's the challenge with social media.
Yeah.
Everybody gets access to everybody else, and it becomes a problem because like when you argue and then you go telling everybody, yeah, we had this fight and I can't believe he said what he said. I can't believe she did what she did. You don't go back and tell people, oh, we made up and we good, we apologize or whatever. You just leave it out there
Mm-hmm.
and they only get half the story. So the same way that you are intentional about telling people we had a problem, you have to be intentional about telling people that we resolved it.
Yeah.
But we don't do that.
Yeah, but I mean, pictures tell a lot.
Yeah.
of people's stories, and pictures don't tell a lot about people's story
Yep.
also,
Yep.
because you can be um, so drawn to social media or a certain um, couple on social media, and then you find out, oh, they didn't make it.
Right.
Well, because it was just pictures.
But they look so cute
But they look so cute
together.
together.
Uh
And their
huh.
story was so cute.
Yeah.
But
What
the picture
looks
doesn't
cute?
tell
Right.
everything.
Say that.
I mean, and then it's like a misconception about what is a happy marriage. Is it because you're
Mm-hmm.
smiling in every picture?
Yep.
But all the smiles don't mean that you're happy. So just being,
Ooh.
yeah, I mean, that's with life. Like, just because you smile all the time doesn't mean that you're happy. And some people are hiding behind the smiles, and but I mean, some people are excited about showing their information, sharing their information and pictures and stuff. But I mean, that's okay. But just don't let it be. Don't let your reality be different than what you're sharing,
Yep.
because then it's a misconception, and people's like, a lot of people watch you,
Yeah.
and then if it's not the reality, the pictures are not the reality, or
Yeah.
your story is not what you're putting out there is not the reality, then you're misleading
Yeah.
people.
Absolutely.
And people are just like celebrities. People are drawn to you because you're putting your life out there. You're on social media. I mean, you're a star.
Yeah.
To some people.
To some people.
To some people, you
Yeah.
are. And then when you putting stuff out there, and then it's the total opposite.
Mm-hmm.
It's a shock.
Yeah.
And some people,
And it really just destroys people's lives
yeah, it
because they
does.
invest so much in that falsehood that they don't have the time or the attention span to come back.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, this helped you. Hopefully, through our ramblings, you got something. But we should be intentional about our marriages. We should be intentional about our spouse.
Yes.
Be intentional about setting aside time. Don't just say we need to spend time together. We need to go out on a date. When you plan out your week, put time on the calendar on this day for 2 hours, 3 hours, 30 minutes. We're going to be together.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you let it be whimsical what you do. Maybe you don't have a lot of funds to go out to dinner or a movie and you stay in the house. But on Wednesday from 5 to 6, it's just me and you. Or Thursday from 7 to 8, we're going to sit on the couch and watch those crazy people talk on Happy Spouse, Happy House. But you have to be intentional about setting aside time. Set aside resources. You know your spouse has a birthday. You know that your spouse has an anniversary. And you know that Christmas is coming. We don't celebrate Valentine's Day, but maybe you do. Maybe that works for you. So that's 4 times a year right there where you need to spend money on your spouse.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be a lot, doesn't have to be an enormous amount, but you need to buy them some type of gift. It could be small, it could be large, whatever it is. Set aside resources to buy those things. It drives me crazy when I hear somebody say, I forgot it was our anniversary. I didn't know it was your birthday. Your birthday coming up. That drives me crazy.
Are there some spouses like that?
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I don't know any.
Oh, yeah. It's
I forgot
people
it
out
was
there.
your birthday. Like,
Listen,
oh, I forgot the anniversary.
it's real.
Didn't you get married on that day?
It's real. And it's because they're not intentional about making sure that they don't forget those things.
Jeez.
It's crazy. But we've got to set aside our resources so that we can invest in our marriage and invest in our spouses. You set aside money to go on that girl's trip or that guy's trip or go to the CIAA tournament that just happened a couple weeks ago. Set aside money to take your spouse on a trip or a date night or buy them a gift or whatever. But set aside your time and your resources and then be intentional about setting boundaries that no one can cross.
Mm-hmm.
No one comes before my wife. The Bible is very clear. A man will leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife. And wife will leave mom and dad or leave their house and become part of her husband's household. We have to recall boundaries are a blessing.
And be intentional of submitting.
Be intentional about submitting to those boundaries.
Yes.
Right now, we're going to be intentional about Vetta's verse. It's something that we do every week on the show, where my wife gets to pontificate over some thoughts that she has and share with us. And I don't know about you,
Pontificate.
but it's been a blessing to me. So I know it'll be a blessing to you. So without further ado, I want to pass the mic to the beautiful woman to my right, and she's going to share with us Vetta's verse.
Today's Veda's verse is coming out of Deuteronomy 8 and 6. And the passage for the day is Deuteronomy 8, 1 through 20. So please read that together. Um, Deuteronomy 8 and 6 says, observe the commands of the Lord your God, walking in his ways and revering him. Do things God's way. Too many Christians accept the cultural value of individualism. We prize independence so much that we fail to recognize the beauty and blessing of shared life. The solution involves turning our obsession to satisfy ourselves into love for others. God doesn't tell us to live for our own convenience. Christianity is concerned with interdependence. One reason the Lord brings us together in marriage is to help us find real satisfaction and joy in serving others. Marriage is the first place to live out God's commands for serving, accepting, encouraging, forgiving, and submitting to one another. Marriage was never meant to be bent to our individual purposes. That's a shabby counterfeit. Real marriage is a God given opportunity to live out love and commitment to one another, human being for a lifetime. When we weigh the options, we can trade the pursuit of short lived personal happiness for the contentment that grows when we share our marriages God's way. This is coming out of the Couples Devotional Bible that we read together. Do things God's way. Deuteronomy 8 and 6 was the verse, and the passage was Deuteronomy 8, 1 through 20. That was Betta's verse for today.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. We got to get to the place. My sister hates it when I say that. I say it all the time.
I can hear
Shout
her.
out to my sister Crystal. I know
Shout
she's
out
gonna
to
watch
Crystal.
this and she's gonna say something.
You got to get to the
Got to
place.
get to the place where we are intentional in our relationships, and intentional in our marriages, intentional in our homes. The reality is, if there is value in your marriage
Mm-hmm.
for you, then you ought to be intentional, not just about increasing that value, but also about protecting that value. When you've got money, money means something to you, money has value to you. And so you invest it or you put it into a stock. You might buy a CD, you might put it into a savings account that will yield some interest down the road.
Mm-hmm.
You do what you can to protect your money so that you have something for later on in life. Your marriage is the same way. And if there's value in your marriage, if your spouse means something to you, then you should be intentional about investing in that relationship, investing in your spouse, and ensuring that it grows and it matures over time so that later on down the road, you've got something to pull from and a resource that'll bless you.
Yes. Hey, we want you guys to be intentional about meeting us back here next Thursday from 7 to 8 on the couch.
We'll be here and we're excited about it. It was a good show,
It was a good show.
and I'm glad that we did it.
We hope you guys enjoyed it tonight. Please give us comments, more topics that you want us to talk about so we could talk about it here on the couch. Hope you guys are having conversations on your couch. Let us know what you guys talk about on your couch so we can share it. We want to hear what you guys talk about on your couch together.
Send us a message on Facebook. You see this logo right? Oops. Wait a minute. right there. You see that logo right there on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Instagram. Make sure that you are, as they say, like, follow, and subscribe, and share it with somebody else so that they too can receive what we've learned over the years and what we're imparting to you as well. This is the logo. That's how you know you're in the right place. And make sure you're connected with us to follow. We've got some exciting things coming up this year. We're looking forward to not just being on the couch, but we've got some things that we believe will bless you. And so we want you to make sure that you're connected. But we want to hear from you. So send us a message on the Facebook page, Happy Spouse, Happy House. Send us a message on the YouTube channel. We check them regularly for comments, questions, concerns, topics that you may want us to cover or discuss. And then also on Instagram, where we're going to start posting more and more content, not just ours, but other things that we find valuable as well. So we look forward to seeing you next week. Until next time, that's Veta.
And that's Mac.
And
And
this
this
has
has
been
been Couch
Couch Conversations.
Conversations.
We'll see you next week.
Good
Good
night.
night.